wants to live below their means? I want to live the best life I can possibly live. So I talk about this often. I use liability. If I want to buy a new Ferrari, I first buy an asset, and the asset pays for the Ferrari. I wanted a Rolls Royce. Why? Because I never had a Rolls Royce. I've had Bentleys. So I built an asset, and the asset then bought my Rolls Royce. Now I'm kind of bored with cars. So I don't have a guilty thing, is that I have financial education, which is what the Rich Dad Company teaches. And you can have the same thing too. You just have to stop listening to those school teachers who are poor. You know, most school teachers, like my poor dad, very good people, but they're so terrified of making mistakes. They want a steady paycheck, and they want a guaranteed pension. I don't think you can get rich from that point of view. Look at this chart here. It's called the cash flow quadrant. E and S, employee and self-employed. That was my poor dad. You know, these guys work for money. These guys are not capitalists. They work for money and they invest their own money. On the B and the I side is my rich dad side. That's the capitalist side. Capitalists use other people's labor and other people's money to get rich. Which side do you want to be on? I'd rather be on the capitalist side. So that's the only difference. It's a whole shift of mindset and education, but everybody can do it if you want to do it. It was really hard because I didn't like, I'm actually a very shy person. Mm-hmm. So learning how to sell was the hardest thing I could do. Yeah. But if I hadn't spent 4 years learning how to sell, I never made it here, I never made it here.
Mm-hmm. So the entire time that you were here, you were preparing to jump to the other quadrant?
Correct. Mm-hmm. So every job is not so much for the high-paying job with job security. Yeah. For not everybody. You know, most people should have job security because they're not designed to be entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, then you better take this job and say, well, which way am I going to go?
Yeah. Okay.
So I knew my job at Xerox was to go here and here and here, not stay here. Mm-hmm. And I actually make so much money over here that I don't need job security, I need the money. So really that's the lesson. When you look at a job, you look at what can I learn more than how much can I make. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest challenge. And if you look for a job where you can learn a lot, the harder the job, the better it is.
Yeah.
You see, the beauty about real estate is you learn to use debt to get rich. I'll give you another tip. If you're going to be rich, you have to learn to use debt. It's called other people's money. So when I hear poor people say to me, I don't have any money, I said, because you're an idiot. That's why. You're not supposed to use your money. You're supposed to use other people's money. Well, that's debt. I don't want to do that. And so they stay poor. But the common wisdom, the old intelligence idea is to diversify. And what I believe in is something else, is increase your financial IQ, your financial intelligence, and instead focus. And what focus stands for is this. Focus is follow one course till you're successful. And so that's what I did in 1973. I signed up for my first real estate investment course. And I just did it and did it and did it. You know, I bought this one little $18,000 place. And I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again until the point where I understood it. And then I went into becoming an entrepreneur. And I did it, and I did it, and did it. And I'm still learning. And I'm still learning about real estate. And the reason, in 1966, I got into oil when I went to work for the Standard Oil Company. So today, I'm still focusing. I invest in oil and oil and oil. And I don't diversify. You know, it doesn't mean I don't lose. Sometimes I lose, sometimes I make mistakes and all this. But I just don't buy good as with all the bad. If you're going to be successful as an investor, you know, diversification is good for the average investor. If that's what you want to be, have a good life. But what I'd rather do is be able to know the good ones from the bad ones, the good investments from the bad investments, the good advisors from the bad advisors, and what's good for me and what's not good for you. Because what I do is not necessarily what's going to work for you, and vice versa here. So that's why I really think instead of diversification or diversifying, the new rules of money say follow one course until you're successful and then keep doing it. Because once you find that way of being successful, you can do it again and again and again. I don't know what the heck with people think about money, but that's what I get a lot of is kind of this, well, money's not spiritual. I'm just saying it's your attitudes, a person's attitude towards money. I make a lot of money, but I give a lot. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
It goes to biblical principle, the more you give, the more you receive. So when I meet somebody who's doesn't have any money, it just means they're not giving something.
Yeah.
So a lot of times there's people who would like more, but they're not giving anything.
Yeah.
So they're like my poor dad. He belonged to the labor unions, and he wanted to work less and get paid more. Well, that's anti-religious to me.
Yeah.
If you want to get paid more, work more, give more. That's how I see it. Another part of your financial IQ is to know there's 3 types of income. So if you're going to say work hard, most people are working hard for earned income, and that's what these guys are working for. The trouble with earned income in America, your tax rate's approximately 50%. Whereas Warren Buffett says it's a shame that his secretary pays a higher percentage in taxes than he did, although he makes billions of dollars. So when you say to a child, go to school and get a safe, secure job, you tell them to work for earned income, the worst type of income. The second type of income is portfolio income. And today, as I speak, and they're trying to change this, it's about 20%. And portfolio income is generally known as capital gains. So if I buy a stock for $10 and I sell it for $50, the $40 gain is taxed at 20%. Or if I buy a house for $100,000 and I sell it for $200,000, that's a capital gains type event. So you pay a lot of tax for that. And the third type of income, which is the best type of income, excuse me, I can't spell again, is passive income. And this is income that just comes in on a regular basis. One of the reasons I am wealthy and is able to retire at a young age is because I worked hard for passive income, not earned income. I don't flip real estate generally, not portfolio income. I don't flip stocks. I want passive income. So today, the new rules of money is important to understand what are you going to school to become, ES, entrepreneur or investor, and what kind of income you're working hard for, earned, portfolio, or passive. And if you know what you're doing, you can pay 0% taxes legally. And this can be done all over the world. People say, we can't do it in my country. Well, these people can't do it in any country, but in most parts of the world, governments need these people. So they're always giving tax incentives for investors and business owners who work for passive income. So those are some of the new rules of money. You've really got to know what you're working hard at and what kind of work are you performing, what kind of income are you working hard for. And just to reiterate, was in approximately 1975, I came out with this product, and we were extremely successful. But we kept running out of money. The more successful we got, the more we ran out of money. So that's when I went to my rich dad and I tried to borrow $100,000, and he chewed me out. He says, why would I invest in a dumb product when you have a bad business? And so that's when he began teaching me the next level of my entrepreneurial education. It's not about the product, it's about how to design a business that doesn't need me to keep raising the capital. In other words, how do you design a business that keeps raising money automatically? And today the Rich Dad company is cash rich. Cash keeps pouring in because the ability to raise money constantly was designed into the business. And once again, this is the diagram. This is the BI triangle. These are the 8 pieces that make up a business. When a business is hurting, oftentimes it's because one of these 8 pieces is missing. For example, many times people have a great product, but their legal is really bad, or their communication systems are bad, or their audit, their internal order processing is bad, or the manufacturing is bad, or the marketing is bad, or they have bad cash flow management. The key to raising money, this is Ken McElroy's company, it's called MC Companies. Ken McElroy's business is in the business of acquiring assets. That's why his company gets richer and richer and richer. every year he adds probably 1,000 new apartment units to his inventory. So Ken's company gets richer and richer because MC Company is designed to increase assets. Poorly designed businesses never have any assets. They have huge liabilities. And I trust that makes sense to you. So Ken McElroy's business gets stronger and stronger and stronger because every year he's increasing more assets. The Rich Dad Company gets stronger and stronger and stronger because every year we add more assets. This year we're adding franchising to our mix. We're also, Rich Brother, Rich Sister, the book has come out. We come out with the Real Book of Real Estate, etc., etc. And every one of those products every year continues to send money into our product. So that's an idea of a well-designed business. If you have a well-designed business, I don't care if it's for real estate or making cash flow board games, if it's well-designed, investors will give money to you because this is a well-designed business.
One of the more important lessons my rich dad taught me, he said there was 4 types of people in the world of business or money, whatever he said. And this here are the 4 different types of people, and he called this the cash flow quadrant. So E stands for employee, S stands for self-employed, small business or specialist like a doctor or a lawyer. B stands for big business, 500 employees or more, and I stands for investor. Now the distinction here is this, is that each of these are 4 different types of people. They have 4 different tax laws for all 4 different types of people, and this is throughout the world. But it was my poor dad who always said to me, son, go to school so you can get a job. So my poor dad wanted me to be an employee like him. And there's nothing wrong with that and all this, except the tax laws are the worst for employees. As Warren Buffett says, he, as a business owner and investor, he pays a lower percentage rate than the employees. And many employees are having a tough time today. Not only is there high gas prices, but there's going to be higher taxes. My mother wanted me to become a doctor or a specialist or a small business person. And I said to my mom, S stands for smart. She says, you got a good point there, because I didn't do well in school, so I wasn't going to make it there. It was my rich dad who advised me to become an entrepreneur or a big business owner like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, Michael Dell, all those guys who created Facebook and Yahoo and all this, or Google. And he wanted me to become an investor. So he started me playing the game of Monopoly, 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. So I learned to be an investor and I learned to be an entrepreneur. So the good news is, if you want to get rich, you can get rich in all 4 quadrants, okay? That's up to you.
Discipline I had to get into was I always pay myself first, even when I had no money. And when I have all these bill collectors calling me, I use them as inspiration. You know what I mean?
Really?
Oh, when they're hounding, the government's hounding you, bill collectors calling, because I've been broke, so I can understand what it feels like to be broke. When those guys are calling you, instead of shrinking and going into the shell and eating my pizza,
yeah.
I use it as motivation to go out and make more money. So I use my bill collectors as motivation, and that's why I paid myself first, even though sometimes I wasn't paying.
What would you pay yourself?
I always bought assets. I'd buy a house or I'd put money in the bank and things like this. But it was just a habit. Exactly what you're talking about. It's up here.
It's about changing the way you think. That's what the whole book is about.
That's it. Because we're our biggest asset. We're also our biggest liability.